You're here kicking it with Brother Smalls at the Manor Club in Pelham Manor, New York. We're here with Robert and Selena Evans of the Dance Ministry Institute, and they're here to talk about their beautifully produced holiday seasonal event called Nativity, Birth of a King. How you guys doing?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to have you guys. Wanted to talk about Nativity, Birth of a King. How long you guys been doing this production?
Well, we started the production in 2003. Took a year off. It was a very humble beginning. Came back in 2005 to 2007, so that's 3 more years. And then took a 4-year break because we were pregnant with our youngest son.
Yes.
And then came back in 2011. So in altogether, this would have been our 10th consecutive year since 2011, but it's 14 years altogether.
Yeah. Got it. And again, the production is retelling the birth of Jesus Christ. And I wanted to ask you, there's so many different biblical stories. Why Birth of a King?
Okay, so that's a good question. Thank you. Why Birth of a King? That actually started as a question that I put before God. We were giving dance classes in Mamaroneck in our 2nd year, and we had given a recital at the end of each session. And we were coming into December. It was like, Lord, what are we going to do for a recital this year? What kind of material are we going to, approach? And I had this real strong impression from God to do Nativity. Mm-hmm. And I was adverse to it at first. And it was like, Nativity, everybody does Nativity. Right. People, they come together. It's a song concert with a couple of dance numbers. And I played, right? And we've all been to them. But the Lord flipped the script on me. He says, but son, you're a dance ministry. He says, so flip the script and tell the story strictly through dance.
Got it.
And that is what I think makes this one, this Nativity expression very different than most. And we did. And it was like, oh, wow, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah.
And so that served as the inspiration. That's how we basically got started with Nativity back in 2003.
So you were impressed to tell a story through dance.
Yes.
Got it. Wonderful. So, this is your 14th year, you said, right?
Yes.
So tell us about the difference between year 1 and year 14.
Okay, so besides the gigantic snowstorm that happened in 2003.
Huge snowstorm.
Yeah.
So, wow, the differences are like a mile long. Okay. Oh my gosh. So that first year, like I mentioned, we were challenged with this huge snowstorm. It was record breaking for the area. We almost didn't open the show that weekend. The cast is very different now. The skill set of the dancers has grown tremendously. The first year, we didn't even have an ending.
Praise the Lord. Worship.
So there was no finale. It was just like, what are we going to do? Just go out and worship. Worship. No, just worship. So, costumes, oh my God, totally are vastly different.
Yeah.
And they are a lot more vibrant now, thanks to my wife's artistic ability with costuming and fashion. And there are scenes that we now have that were never in the first couple of years of the show because the people to help bring those scenes about were not in place yet.
Got it.
And so there's been tremendous growth over the years with the production.
Okay. I've seen this. I've seen it several times. I would think probably 4 or 5 times I've been, to the theater to see it. Just tremendous, and what I'm struck by is the engagement that from the production. So in every facet, you're engaged. You're engaged from the visual, from the costumes. I mean, vibrant. You're engaged from the music, and then you're engaged with the dance. And so, I'm interested to find out how did you come up with putting all of that into the production? I mean, because you said before that sometimes you can just kind of have, hey, just tell a story and dance number and that. It just seems like there's such a symmetry of what you put together there.
Yeah, well, I think it starts with being extremely intentional. I mean, that's the buzzword now. We didn't know what to call it then, but that's exactly what it is. To be intentional. And for me, somewhat as the architect of the project, it was everything had to fall in line and be in sync. One thing couldn't outshine the other. There had to be a harmonious balance between dance and between song and between costuming and whatever set designs we were able to afford at the time. Lighting, all of those things had to gel together so that one element did not overpower the others. And so
No, I really think that it actually speaks to people in different ways. It's almost like a message. Sometimes you can hear a message and you ask people, okay, what did you get out of it? And you get 2, 3, 4 different, I got this out of it. And so because you have those components in the production, it's like if someone who's like really visual, they're just astounded by your wife's creations with the costumes and everything. And then the music, for me, a lot of the powerful gospel songs, the words are like really meaningful. And then incorporate that with the dance.
Yeah.
It's really, it's just,
and like I said, being intentional about what the overall message is.
Sure.
And someone asked me, he says, Robert, you've got a Christmas show that doesn't have a lot of Christmas music in it. And I was like, you're absolutely right. This is because the song selections were determined by what helps to develop this particular character that we're seeing in the storyline.
Got it.
And so what song really speaks to Elizabeth and Zacharias, this seasoned couple who have been with each other so long that they can interpret each other's thoughts and, that kind of thing. And so you didn't need words for that. Oftentimes that's a feeling, it's a look, it's a touch in the hand, I can communicate, And so the goal was to express that through their opening duet. And so there was a jazz number, a jazz instrumental used for that, but the title of that song is "His Eyes Are Still on Us," and so it's that kind of intentional decision making. There were a lot of songs that were tossed into the project that did not, I guess, make the vetting process initially, and to be truthful, quite a few of the songs that made it were songs that ministered to me personally through my own rubber meeting the road experiences with God.
Yes.
And so it was like, oh my God, this is like the heart of what the priests are doing, or this is what Mary needs to hear right now that she's been rejected by Joseph, So, yeah.
No, it's wonderful, wonderful. I wanted to ask you, Selena, about the costumes. I wanted to about the visual of the production. So many vibrant colors. Everything's really vivid and it's different. And what's your inspiration? How did you come about with all of those designs?
Well, I think because coming from the fashion industry as a fashion designer, I think I really wanted to take that gift and bring it into the kingdom.
Got it.
And say, you know what? Yes, back in the day there were more neutral palettes, but we want to flip the script and bring brightness to the production so people can really see it. So it's a production, you don't want something drab, you want something upbeat.
Right.
To still tell the story and still be creative and beautiful at the same time. I just love the flow of how everybody twirls, and that really helped.
No, it definitely helped. And has it changed over the years?
Ooh, yes. from
Along with the budget.
as long as I have the money to be able to buy what I need,
Yes.
and also props with the crowns and
Yes.
the robes being longer.
Yes.
And I have a team. I had a team to help me because it's a lot of work.
Sure.
But it's a labor of love because I love it so much. And if I go and see different Broadway shows, that inspires me as well. Color palettes always inspire me. So I said, let's bring that all to the kingdom and make it come alive. And so that's how
it definitely comes alive.
Thank you.
And one of the things I noticed is that there's such a range with the production, range of talent, range of skills, range of ages. You have dancers that are, I don't know, 3 years old, and then you have
That's a sheep.
you have dancers that are a little bit more seasoned.
Yes.
Tell us about how that was really purposeful. It seemed.
Absolutely, and costuming those people are different. I mean, you have the ballerina skinny, which is
Sure,
fine, and then you
sure.
have middle, and then heavier set women, which is beautiful to see.
Beautiful, yes, it
that
is.
everybody can come together and dance in a costume and feel loved, and they love. I mean, when you put that costume on,
Yeah.
regardless if you're a size 0 to a size 18, 20, whatever. They turn into the character, and I love to see that.
That's amazing because when you think about the kingdom, when you think about what comprises the kingdom, colors and variation and all. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. You guys have been doing this amazing production for 14 years, right?
Yeah. This would be our 14th year.
All right. So my question is, while raising a family, working full time, and participating in ministry, how's this happening? How's this happening?
No, really, a lot of prayer and just the grace of God, purely. I mean, I would love to sit here and tell you, oh, well, we've got this wonderful balance sheet of how we allocate our time, and that is not it.
No, but also tell us. I want to, tell us what are other things that you're doing. I mean, people don't know, like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as Selena mentioned, she's a fashion designer by trade. That's her profession. I am an educator, and I happen to teach math in an alternative high school program. And those are full-time jobs. And I think the beauty of this project is that the majority of our cast have full-time jobs that have nothing to do with theater, have nothing to do with dance, and we all come together with this desire to do this once a year. It's really incredible. And we strive to train them as if this was their profession. And so the other thing that I'm excited about is that you're right, you mentioned we've got a variety of cast members and types, and that's always been my model. I don't believe in cookie cutter shaped image dancers. I believe that we all have a voice, we all have something to say, and I want our general audience to be able to see themselves expressed on stage. And so we have a variety of shapes and sizes and ages. But back to your original question, I don't know how we balance it. Because at times it's very difficult. It does come at a cost. There is a strain on the family dynamic, which is why we took 4 years.
My last kid, I couldn't do no more.
That's why we took a 4-year break between, 2007 and 2011. But again, it's like Selena mentioned earlier, it is a labor of love. And once I knew that we had the green light to go back and we felt that our family could then bear the weight of the production, we came back in 2011.
That was going to be my question about dealing with the highs and lows, the pressures of the production. And I guess there was a bit of communication there as far as, hey, I see a bit of communication, right?
A lot of communication.
A lot of communication.
Yeah, sometimes as the result of a lack of communication.
No, so I mean, like getting through it, and it was just a lot of communication, or just dealing with issues as they come up. I'm always interested in married couples that are working together. And so I wanted to ask you, in this 14-year period of doing Nativity, what have you learned? What's the most what's the thing that you're most proudest of? But also, what have you learned about Selena? And Selena, what have you learned about Robert in the process?
It's a family show, right? You want to go first? Ladies first.
Okay, ladies first.
Yeah.
What I've learned from Robert is that he's very determined. I trust the God that's in him and the God that's in me, that God loves us both, and that we're coming together to do that one God vision of saving souls. And so if I trust my husband, and I trust the Christ that's in me as well, then I don't have a problem submitting to say, hey, you know what? We have a mutual goal. So the mutual goal is like, okay, if I have to be the mom and the dad and to make sure that the family is together, while he goes and says, look, God, I need this done for the production, and he's very focused. And so when he's focused and he's in that area of, saying, okay, it has to be done perfect, it's got to be done right for the kingdom, I'm saying, okay, yes, I'm still doing the costumes. I actually make sure that my kids are involved, or we make sure that they're involved. I'm like, honey, can you thread that needle? Because I'm getting a little older. I need you to thread that needle. I need you to help me cut this. And so I think we bring the family in it, so we don't feel separated. Because I think if we felt separated, then it would be more of a division. But I think because we're in it together, it brings us together.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that.
So, first part of your question, what has I think been the
most rewarding, gratifying?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that leads back to why we do all of this, right? One year we received this. We had done the production, I think it was maybe 2005, 2006, and we received this email from a woman who explained that her relationship with her husband was a bit estranged, but he agreed to join her for a Christmas show. They came to Nativity, and it was during the scene of Sovereign where the angel Gabriel is dealing with Joseph. We heard, even on stage, we heard this response in the audience that was kind of like gut curling a little bit. And the Holy Spirit was just really working this guy over. And long story short, she wrote this email explaining all of that. He hadn't been to church in like 3 or 4 years. And that was a Saturday performance he attended. That Sunday morning, he went back to church for the first time, gave his life back over to Christ, and fast forward, now serves as a deacon in the church.
Wow.
And
awesome.
I think that is the proudest moment that I can have, because that's why we do this. And I couldn't wait. When I got the email, immediately I shared it with the cast and said, this is why we do this, so that lives can be transformed for the better. And so this person who did not feel comfortable in a church felt comfortable coming to a neutral space called a theater. And then God met him there through his word expressed very creatively. So I think that's one of the highlights for me. In second part of your question, in terms of what have I learned about Selena in the process, my wife is extremely resilient because she has to put up with a lot. And in the truth of being transparent, I cannot be the easiest person to get along with sometimes. Because like she mentioned, I get like really zoned in. I forget to give the cast members breaks for lunch.
I make sure they eat.
She's like,
make sure they eat.
Because we're in a zone, we're working, right? And she's like, other people haven't eaten. Can they just get some water? And I don't mean to be insensitive to that. It's just that sometimes I'm in this high focus zone. And so it's important to have people around you that can take care of those blind spots that you have. And So she's really good with that. But she does. And you made this statement to be mom and dad. It can't be dad, but I understand what you meant. But she really is the glue that keeps our family together when we're involved in this production season. I'll share one quick story. I think this is okay. We've shared this before.
Okay.
But this might really bless somebody. I came home from rehearsal one year. This was actually in 2007, the last year that we did before we took the break. And she was very pregnant that season. We do the show in December. She was going to deliver in January, first week of January. So her involvement was less, and she wasn't as hands-on as she typically is, used to being. And I came in from rehearsal late one night, and she goes, "Okay, I get it. I don't have a husband, and my children don't have a father, because you are fathering Nativity, and you are married to Nativity." And bruh, that thing went in this ear, dropped down in this heart, and like exploded like a bomb.
I just had it.
And I'm like, oh my God, And so, but it was a wake up call.
Sure.
It really was a wake up call. And that year I wanted the show closed before we ever opened. But thank God we got through that. And that was when we rested the show for 4 years, because my family needed to recover. And, we forget sometimes even the simple principles that God gives us. You don't work the soil year after year after year after year without rest. You have to rest the soil.
Yes,
and so, so that's what and so that comes to mind when I say resilient, and she's not shy of letting me know when, enough is enough, because I don't necessarily see that.
No, I appreciate you sharing that story. And, I guess as it relates to the family, I've been to the shows and I've seen, your sons participate in the production and grow in the production. And so I wanted to ask you, how's it feel to see your sons mature in the production?
Well, I'm sure her take is a little different than mine.
Well, okay, you did ask a question. One of my favorite parts of the show is when I'm on stage with my son Joshua, who plays Joseph, and being on the stage with him as
his mom.
Wow.
That's when, if anybody knows me, they're like, "Oh, when you are there," I'm like this. Yes.
Yeah.
You can feel it. So that was really that really impacted me, because I was like, "Ooh, we're all in this really together. We're dancing together. We're doing everything together," and it really, really helped me a lot.
Awesome. But it's extremely gratifying. I'm not the person that coaches little league, or and that's my interaction with my sons. My gifting is this kind of production, and so to have my sons grow up in this process with me is extremely gratifying. Now, they all don't dance, they all have different gifts, but they're all tied to it in some capacity. And something that my wife alluded to earlier, it is important for us that the family be involved, because it's a tremendous amount of weight and responsibility. Not only do we try to strive that for our own family, but we try to make sure that other cast members, if they have family members that want to be involved, we find ways for them to also be involved.
Right.
And so we've got parents dancing with their children on stage, not just us, but other parents dancing with their children. We've got people on stage, but their family members are supporting backstage, or downstairs with the costume shop, or outside or in the choir, singing in the choir, or among the many volunteers that are in the lobby serving and helping make the whole Nativity experience exactly what it is for our audiences.
It's really a community. It sounds like...
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
no, absolutely. Yeah. And I think when family members are involved, they get a glimpse of they get a glimpse of what's required for their family member that's primarily involved.
Gotcha.
And so it's not like they're off doing this thing and I'm stuck at home not knowing what's going on. You know, they're tied to, they understand the amount of work that's required. They understand the level of excellence that we're striving for. And they're invested as well. They understand the cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys are, just multi-talented, and, this is a wonderful production of Nativity. I wanted to ask you, what's next for you guys? What's next for Robert and Selena Evans?
A Sabbath. No.
Okay. Yes.
No, that's a good question. What is next for Robert and Selena? Well, a lot of people know that I have been really wanting to get the Easter season production out, Calvary. And it's a little different. It's a little more challenging for us because with Nativity, Birth of a King, we're using all this pre-recorded music by other artists. And the goal this time around is to have our own music created for Calvary. And that's kind of where we are. That's what's on the horizon. We're also looking forward to other projects that speak more from a personal aspect of one's own walk with God. And how we bring their rubber meeting the road experiences to life through dance drama as well.
No, that's wonderful. One of the thoughts that I had was that the production for a long time has been at John Jay, the Gerald W. Lynch Theater.
Right.
And that theater is blocks away from Broadway.
And the back door of Lincoln Center.
And the back door of Lincoln Center. And so have you ever thought about the proximity of this production, which I believe could be at Lincoln Center and could be on Broadway? Have you ever thought about that?
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, I've thought about it. I try not to think too much about it. Right. We intentionally decided to move to Manhattan. When we started the production in the early 2000s, we were at Purchase in Westchester County.
Purchase, yeah.
After taking the 4-year break, the idea was to really come into the city, to expose Nativity to a broader audience. And we knew that the location would attract more. It was with that move that we started attracting bus loads to New York for the production. Last year we had like about 7 large bus loads come from various places: Philadelphia, Connecticut, Jersey. And so I don't know that they would have done that, had the production still been at Purchase. But there's an allurement about the city, especially during Christmas. So people come, they book their matinee tickets, and then they plan their New York City activities afterwards, or they go have dinner afterwards.
Go see the tree, go shopping.
And so that's been very beneficial for us. And so we're often asked, "Oh my God, you guys should be on Broadway," and I appreciate those compliments. I really, really do. But I think sometimes people don't understand what that really requires. Our current day cast would not fulfill that because it requires them to leave their jobs, and that's another whole thing.
Finances,
and so, and when you think about a run on Broadway, you have to have a run. We're a seasonal production. We don't run past Christmas. Right. And so those are very different dynamics. And I remember having this conversation with our staff one year, and I said, I think we're responsible for deciding what success is for us.
Got it.
And at the end of the day, for us, success is not having to pay for the production, because we did in the early years, and because we were establishing it, and it was like, okay, Lord, we're sowing these seeds, we're sowing these seeds.
Yeah. No. Wow. No. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. But I wanted to get into where folks. You said that people came from Pennsylvania and Connecticut, and now I know that folks around the world can participate and see the production. Yeah. So if you could tell our audience how they can experience Nativity, Birth of a King.
Sure. Yeah, we're very excited about this opportunity this year. Despite the pandemic, God has been really faithful with Nativity, Birth of a King. And when we were going through all this in the summer, we were very hopeful that we would be able to get back into the theaters. But when Broadway announced that they were shut down until the new year, we knew that there was no way we were going into a theater. Yeah. And so the question was asked, how do we make this available? So we're very fortunate to be able to provide the streamed version of last year's show this year. Okay. And that was a new experience, new territory. For us, uncharted waters, because we had to go through a whole clearing process with music, because like I said earlier, the music doesn't belong to us. And God is so faithful at sending rams in the bush. I mean, He sent this wonderful guy by the name of I don't know if I should say it. Well, I guess I can. Well, God sent this wonderful guy who has his own advertising agency and campaign, and developed a campaign with us. Sure. Helped us get through a lot of the hassles and allowed us to be able to clear the music.
So how do folks get involved? How do they access it?
They can go to www.nativityshow.com. And that will take them straight to the streaming website. They can purchase their streaming tickets. It is a nominal $20 fee. Yep. And they will have unlimited access of the production from December 18th through December 27th.
No, that's beautiful. One of the things that I've been doing is posting it on my social media and saying, hey, give the gift of joy this season, purchase this wonderful production. I'm asking people to, whoever I reach out to send it to 12 folks. And, and let's just really see. I have a number in mind, and we'll circle back after, this season, hopefully. Sure. But I have a number in mind, and I want to see if my number
your number got matched?
Number got matched.
Yeah, I mean, this is incredible because all of the cast members have family members that are outside of the New York City area and that could never get here to see it. Right. And so this provides all of our family members and, the entire country the opportunity to be able to see this production. People who we don't know will view it. And I'm not going to restrict it or limit it just to the United States. That's right. I believe that it'll cross international waters and people across the globe will be able to view this as a result of this opportunity this year.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
It's also because we're a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
And since we're a nonprofit organization, the nominal fee of $20 will help produce when we do come back into the theater. Yeah. Because it does take money to see what you see. That's right. The costumes, the lighting, the backdrop. So a nominal fee of $20
it's
help
such a value.
And to continue.
It's a tremendous value. I mean, folks, get your family, have a nice meal or, dinner and theater, right? That's how they do it. Usually we would go to the city and you have dinner and then you have the theater, or you get the theater and then go dinner. However you do it in your home, do it this year and bring Nativity, Birth of a King, to your home. Well, I'm so thankful and grateful for you guys coming and sharing, a little bit about yourselves and about this beautiful production. Is there anything else that you would want to say to our audience before we say goodbye?
Buy your stream ticket.
Buy your stream ticket.
Buy your stream ticket.
And I just want to
also donate.
I just want to underscore what my wife mentioned earlier. It really is, we're grateful to be able to provide last year's production this year. A lot of our group organizers reached out and says, "Oh my God, I'm so glad to hear that you're doing this." This has become a tradition for so many people. Lives have been, these are unprecedented times. That's a kind of like a cliche phrase now, but it really is.
Sure.
And I believe that this production provides a sense of hope and encouragement for people during a time when we really do need it most. And so we're just glad to be a part of what God is doing to help provide some hope and encouragement to the people, to the body of Christ, and to the people at large.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thanks to the Manor Club. And we're just so appreciative for this opportunity. Kicking it with Brother Smalls. You guys go out, get Nativity, Birth of a King. Enjoy a happy holiday season and happy and healthy New Year. God bless. Bye now.
Informs, uplifts, and elevates, and inspires, takes you higher. Say it again.